Gina's been missing us. Oh, thanks. And Joshua's just mowing his yard. You go. My boys have been mowing and mowing. Oh. All right. So we went to Colorado, and on the way we visited our viewer who turned into my assistant, who's now our friend and is still our viewer in Cheyenne. And when we were down there visiting them, she said, Tara, can you come look at my stockpile? And I was like, well, yeah. She said, I am getting so tired of stockpiling. She said, do I have enough food, do you think?
Because she's having to haul groceries. You guys know what it's like. You haul the groceries out from the grocery store into the car, from the car into the house. Then you have to find a place to put them.
Yeah. And so she was like, I just need to know if I have enough food. Do I need to keep going? Because I'm tired of doing this. So I thought I would talk about and answer your questions on stockpiling. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and post them. Mike's in the background and he will send them over to me. But, you know, here's the thing. It's okay to get worn out doing this stuff. Now, I kind of have two ways of saying this, and it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, and I guess in a way I kind of am. But you just have to decide what you're going to do for you, and I'll tell you some of the reasons why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. So first of all, do I think that there's a massive famine coming to the United States? Probably not. Do I think food prices are going to be higher? Probably will. I don't think it means that we're not going to be able to just buy food in the United States. But I honestly would not be surprised if by December, well, they're saying October, so we'll just go with October with what everybody's saying. By October, it's maybe got another 25 to 50% on top of the food. Now, having said that, there's a few things we have to keep in mind. First of all, even if food doubled in the United States, right now it's gone up about 15%, give or take 10 to 15%, depending on the item. Some items have gone up about 20%. Thanks, Alicia. She gave us money for Bibles. Thank you. Thank you. And even if, let's say food doubled, even if it doubled, milk is $7 a gallon. The Walmart white bread is $2 instead of $1. That is still not really outrageous prices. We're still, even if it doubled, it's still not at Venezuela or the Great Depression. It's still not at those prices yet. That's really high, but it's not that you wouldn't be able to eat at all. What it means is you're not going to be able to buy your Starbucks coffee, even if it's just the coffee beans you buy at the store at home. It means that you're going to be buying the store brand coffee. It means you're not going to be buying Lunchables. You're going to actually have to make your child's lunch. You're going to have to cut out the pre-cut fruits and vegetables and deli meats. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to cook at home and those kinds of things. So, first of all, you have to keep it in perspective. Even if food prices soar and they double over what they even are now, they've gone up 15% or so right now. Even if they double over that, it's not going to be outrageous compared to a lot of places in the world. We will probably still have food and we will probably be able to afford it. You know, it's like Mike said, everybody's complaining about the price of groceries, but they're still paying their $150 cable bill. They're still paying their car payments on that $20,000 or $30,000 car they bought instead of buying a used something for $5,000 to $8,000.
Well, even like every time I've been to Walmart now, the last time I went to Walmart, and every time I go, I counted 3 vehicles in the parking lot. Nobody was in them. The car was running with the air conditioner going because they didn't want to come out to a hot car. Now, everybody's complaining about gas prices, but to have 3 different vehicles running, I've been to pick my grandkids up from school for different things, and I'm the only one that has my car turned off, and I've got the windows rolled down. Everybody else sitting with the car running to keep either cool or warm in the car. I turned the car off. So what Tara's saying is, things are going to get to where we won't be maybe as comfortable anymore, but we're still going to have probably enough money to buy food and be able to get food. It's just that we're going to have to start doing without all of our sort of luxury items that we don't realize are luxury. We think of that they're
we aren't
needs.
having to choose between heating our house and buying food at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not happening yet. I understand stuff is high. I totally get that, but it's not happening. You are not having to choose to buy your kids shoes or buy peanut butter and a loaf of $1 or $2 bread for your child's lunches. So it's not that bad yet that we keep saying. I know it's going up and everybody keeps saying, oh, Tara, in my last video, I'm glad you finally saw the light. No, I've been seeing the light this whole time. You just have to keep it in perspective.
Yeah, she's telling you this so there's no reason to panic.
Yeah.
To be worried, to be anxious, to be upset. Things have been worse in times past for different things and in other countries. So we're just going to lose out our comfort. Yeah. And have to have basics from now on, or, in a few months maybe.
And I understand there's people on Social Security, there's single moms or whatever that have expenses or whatever. But guys, I'm sorry. It is a very small, first of all, portion of the population. Secondly, it's even smaller of that very, very small portion of the population. It's even smaller of those people that have actually cut out everything
it's small, huh?
Those people have actually cut out everything that they can cut out. Like just today, I was listening to a talk show, and the lady said, "Oh, I'm a single mom, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to pay for such and so?" And she makes $25,000 a year. Okay, yeah, that's not good. You need to get your income up and get a better job. But she had a $20,000 car she was making car payments on. She still owed $15,000 on a car. When you're earning $25,000 a year with kids, you do not go buy a $20,000 car you cannot afford. If you are on Social Security and that's all your money, you do not go and buy the special makeup. You do not go buy the special hair stuff. You don't go and buy the name brand chocolate chips. You don't buy chocolate chips. Your desserts go around oatmeal cookies, bread pudding, rice pudding. It is very, very, very small. Did I mention it's very small? Guys, why do I keep saying this over and over? Because every single time, we get somebody on there whining how they have cut out every single thing. I have cut out every single thing. And let me tell you, that may be the case for you. And if it is, I understand it's going to be hard. But the majority of people can still cut a lot of things out, even on Social Security, even single moms.
Yeah. I've always thought I would love to be in the business because a lot of people that I know, and I know their income, and I've worked with them, they've made very little money, and I've gone in there and I've been able to find almost 50% of what they're spending is stuff they could stop spending and use it for their bills.
I guarantee you, Mom and I could go into the grocery store, and I bet you we could not find one person that was actually at the bare minimum of food.
Yeah.
I'll bet you anything.
That they didn't have extra stuff in their basket and stuff.
Yeah.
I look at it all the time when I stand in line, waiting in line, going up and down the aisles. I see it all the time. And even within the past week or two, it's still happening, you know. And I think part of what we want to get across too is you need to start now. I don't
It's
think
not too late.
anybody's wanting to start now. They're just either wanting to block it out or pretend like it's not happening. I don't know what the reasons are, but you need to start now. If you start now, you're going to be okay. You can't wait. People should have started a year ago or more. You know, we've been talking about this for a long time, saying you've got to do this, because if you prepare now, well, it's like, okay, I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I had to get rid of everything when I moved. And it was funny, Tara brought this up. This was a subject she was going to talk about tonight, because Monday, just day before yesterday, I was unloading another sack of grocery stuff and thinking, okay, what am I going to get this week? And I was putting it away in my pantry, and I just finished putting it away, and I thought, I'm exhausted. I am so tired juggling this food, trying to figure out, you know, where to put it, how much do I have of this? And I'm standing there looking, and I started figuring out, you know, I have got at least a year, maybe if I was really careful, almost 2 years worth of food. And I thought, okay, I'm done now. I have been preparing for a while, and I'm okay. And so I have enough that if I couldn't buy food next week, I've got enough to last me. So I thought, enough is enough. So what I'm doing now is, if I eat a can of tuna from my pantry this week, I'll go replace that can of tuna, maybe buy one more can, maybe buy 2 or 3 cans. I'm not going to do this shopping, the whole big basketful, because I stopped and paused, and I thought, I'm tired. I'm prepared, because I've been doing this for a while, so I'm okay. So now I'm going to relax and enjoy an ordinary everyday life, and not be constantly thinking, because I realize I'm getting a little, you know, when you start feeling yourself getting anxious and thinking, oh, do I need to do more? And you feel this anxiety building up in you, and this exhaustion happening and all this, that's when you've got to pause, and you got to think, okay, what am I doing here? Am I overdoing? Do I need to just calm down and take it simple? Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? There's a point. Some of you are out there doing absolutely nothing, and some of you out there are doing too much. So there is a happy medium that we're trying to get people to understand, that get you guys motivated that are doing nothing to start doing something. And those of you that are getting overwhelmed, we're telling you it's okay to, if you've got it under control, to take it a little bit easier, because you've got a little bit of time if you're pretty much prepared.
Now, I know that sounds like we're contradicting ourselves, saying on one hand, well, you need to stock up, and then on the other hand, well, stop stocking up, But here's the thing. Get just a month's worth of food. Once you got a month's worth of food, then each week,
take your time.
Just add, 1 case of fruit, 1 case of vegetables. Now, if you're so inclined, like right after we moved, I went and made, 5 or 6 shopping trips to the store with a couple of baskets and filled it all up. And Mike and the boys and I just got everything restocked at our own little grocery store so that it would be done and over with. You can do it that way. You can do it 5 cans every time you go to the grocery store. I would, though, we've been saying this for a few years, but guys, things are really starting to turn now. And people say, well, Tara, you said nothing was wrong. That's because it wasn't.
At that time.
That time. It was still perfectly fine. Inflation was happening, but it wasn't that bad. When that thing going around happened, there was still food. There was still plenty of food. But nobody wanted to listen. All they wanted to do was complain about it. So don't get yourself all riled up about it. Not saying my friend did. She was just like, do you think I'm good? And I was like, yeah, I think you're good. I would maybe just every time you go to the store, just start adding 5 more or something just to make sure.
And
but
she was wise enough to know that something was getting a little bit off kilter, that she was getting worn out, and she was trying to figure out how to fix that. And she was really on target with that, because when you sense that in you, she was smart to ask Tara, what do you think I should do on this?
Yeah.
Because things were wearing her out. So when that happens, you're overdoing. If you're nervous and worried because you don't have anything, well, then you're the other extreme. So it's not that we're contradicting ourselves. It's just that there's 2 extremes happening, is what we're finding out.
Yep. Yeah. So what do you do with burnout? First, realize, okay, I'm doing too much. If you're getting to the point where you're burned out, then realize I'm doing too much. Assess where you are. Figure out how much food do you have. Everybody's like, well, how do I do that? I just keep it simple. I keep it very simple. I look on the back of the bag of rice that I got, 5 pounds, whatever. It says serves X amount. Okay, I've got 500 servings of rice. I don't know how much I have. I'm just guessing. But I've got 500 servings of rice. I have 1,000 servings of flour, whatever. Then I just divide that up by the 4 of us, and then divide it up by 3 meals a day. And that's how many days worth of food I have.
It's basic math that you just need to figure. Like, I've got a can of tuna that says it has 2.5 servings on it. So that means 2 cans of tuna will be meat for 5 days. 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. So 2 cans of tuna would be meat for 1 person for 5 days. So we can't tell you exactly, because each family's different. Some of you have a couple of babies. Some of you have teenage boys. You have 5 kids. You have 2 kids. There's singles. So you're going to have to do the math yourself. Just take the servings and figure out. I buy graham crackers for breakfast. Okay, there's 28. I eat
Hold on.
You're back.
So,
okay.
So we're having problems here.
We're not
guys.
sure what the issue is.
And so what I do is I buy graham crackers for my breakfast. Well, there's 28. I eat 4 for breakfast, crackers. And so 4 into 28 is 7. So 1 box of crackers is 1 week's worth of breakfast. Just do the simple basic math, and you can do the figuring. That way you can add up, okay, I've got 20 cans of tuna. That means I've got 40 plus almost 50 servings. You get to where you can do it really fast. And are we still frozen?
Yeah, I have no idea. Can you guys still see us?
Can you see us, guys?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm frozen on my end, so go ahead.
Well, and another thing too, this is sort of not explaining on the food as much, but I did want to say part of it, well, maybe we should go. Did you have something else to say on the food, on how to do the servings?
So keep it in perspective. Next, only buy food you're going to eat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am shocked. I am absolutely floored by the number of people who email me and say, well, I bought all this food and I don't even like it.
Yeah.
Do not buy Spam if you don't like Spam. I happen to like Spam. Don't have any in my pantry, but I happen to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy Spam if I needed to. Diabetics, gluten-free people, every single day, I guess somebody who's gluten-free or diabetic saying, what am I supposed to stockpile?
What do you eat now? What do you eat now?
If you're diabetic, you eat canned chicken, canned tuna, canned beef, beef stew. You can have all the vegetables. If you're diabetic, you can eat anything. And don't give me no lip. I have been on a diabetic diet. I have been to the nutritionist. I have been to the doctors. And every single one says, you can eat what you want. Just don't eat so much. Now, it may only be an 1/8 or 1/4 of a cinnamon roll. You're not going to be able to eat the whole cinnamon roll. Okay. But it's the same thing with gluten-free. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, and sugar-free now. What do I stock? I stock what I eat: rice and beans and chicken and tuna and canned vegetables and canned fruit in its own juice.
Mhm.
This is not rocket science. You're making it way harder.
hard.
Stop making it
Yeah.
harder than it needs to be. You have got to stop making it harder than it needs to be. Next, get your mind on something else.
That's what I was saying. I want an ordinary day,
Yeah.
you know.
So like the last 3 weeks, 3 weeks, I think, I have been painting my house on the outside and getting my gardens all put in. I've stopped dealing with videos. I had some already pre-done. I stopped dealing with business stuff, and I just went and did something else to get my mind off it. Because I'll tell you, this is really wearing.
Mhm.
Mom and I were just talking the other day. We're like, okay, if the recipe channel takes off, we're probably done, and we'll just get on once or twice a month and just, chat with people and living on a dime. Because, dealing with this whole prepping thing and all of that, the majority of the comments are people who have just plumb lost their minds. I'll be honest. When we're live, you guys are great, but afterwards,
Oh, yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so, and some of this stuff, we're just kind of like, how many times can you tell people to stop panicking and start preparing, but don't freak out about it?
Yeah. And that's why I say, just start doing. Do you have a hobby that you do? Do you do something for fun? Do you go hiking? Do you take the kids swimming? Step back and take a breath and try to do something normal and enjoy it and get your mind off of it as much as you can. You can't dwell on it all the time. And we get the question too, or comment too. A lot of people say, well, you say you're Christians and yet you endorse prepping.
Ooh, hold on. Wait, I have a verse for that. Go ahead and finish your sentence.
Well, I was going to make a whole lot of comments on this.
Okay, hold on. I have a verse for that, actually, for the Christians here that I want actually 2 verses. Psalm 37, 18 through 20. This is for Christians. The Lord knows the days of the blameless, and their heritage will remain forever. They are not put to shame in evil times. In the days of famine, they have abundance. But the wicked will perish. The enemies of the Lord are like the glory of the pastures. They vanish like smoke. They vanish away. The second verse, Psalms 33, 18 through 20. Behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who fear him and those who hope in his steadfast love, that he may deliver their soul from death and keep them alive in famine. Our soul waits for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. If you do not have one extra single canned good, bag of flour, or anything, and you are a Christian, God has promised he will take care of you.
But the thing is, he wants you to do as much as you can yourself. He gave us a brain. He gave us a perfectly good body to do what we can. And the perfect example, so it's not like we should just sit back and wait for something to happen and for him to take care of us. We don't do that in our normal everyday life. We don't just sit back and you go to work to provide food. Isn't that preparing? By going to work, you're preparing to get money to pay for your bills and your food. That's a sense of preparing. And there's nothing wrong with preparing with the future. But the perfect example of this was years ago, we heated with wood burning stove. That's all we had for the winter. And I had plenty, I'd prepared, and I had plenty of wood stacked up and ready for that winter. Well, it just so happened that was one of the worst winters Kansas had ever had. We had like day after day of minus 15 degrees, and that wasn't even the wind chill. I mean, it was bitter cold and snow and more snow. So I used twice as much wood as what I ever had before since we lived there. Now, I had worked really hard to make sure I was prepared and have a ton of wood. And it was beyond my control. I ran out of wood and I only had a few days left. And I thought, what am I going to do now? And I had done everything to prepare. But this is where God is faithful and that we can trust him. Because I went to church that next Sunday and I thought, I have no idea what I'm going to do next week to keep us warm. And there was that I call him an older man in my mind. He was 50
Probably
or
my
50,
age
he
now.
was 50 or 55 that sat behind me. And he leaned forward right before church started. I didn't know him. I just knew he always sat behind me. I didn't even know his name.
That was before you had to greet everybody in church.
No, we did, but I really didn't know him that well. But anyway, he tapped me on the shoulder before church started, and he said, I know you know a lot of people here. He said, if you hear of anybody, it blows my mind. If you hear of anybody that needs some firewood, would you mind letting me know? Because he said, I've got all this firewood. I just want to get rid of it and give it to someone because I don't need it anymore. I'm sitting there thinking, me, I do. I couldn't believe it. The man sitting behind me in church told me he had all this firewood. Now that's God providing. God knew I'd done my very best to make sure I had heat.
And he'll do the same with food.
Yeah, he does that with everything in our lives. And now, if I had probably sat and didn't bother about doing the firewood and said, well, God's just going to figure something out for me, and I didn't bother to try, well, it's like an adult child. If that adult child's playing video games in your basement all the time saying, well, mom and dad's going to provide for me, they're not going to let me starve to death, so I'm just going to sit here and play. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that with our adult children, and it doesn't work like that in our relationship with God. He's there for us in a heartbeat when we can't do something, but we can't just sit back and be lazy and expect him to do. So that's when people say, well, you can't be a Christian if you're not having faith that God's going to take care of you. And we got stories in the Bible. We use Joseph all the time, and the widow, and different things with Elijah and everything that God tells them to prepare, or he helps them to some way prepare. The widow in the Bible, she was told to go gather up the big jugs so it could be filled with oil. That was her part, was gathering the jugs. The miracle was when God filled it all with oil for her, oil and flour. So you see, we have our part, and you've got to do your part. You just can't sit back and say, well, I'm a Christian, so God's going to take care of me. He sure is. He will take care of you, but he expects you to be, take care of yourself like an adult child would.
Yep.
I love it when my daughter agrees with me. I wish she always agreed with me like that.
Send me questions. Yeah, I did post the scriptures again, guys, but they are, I'll tell them again too. Psalms 37:18 through 20 and Psalm 33:18 through 20. Psalms 37:18 through 20 and Psalm 33:18 through 20. Yeah, and so do we think something's going to happen? Yeah, it probably will. I mean, we are getting set up for the tribulation. I think that everything is all this crazy stuff that doesn't make sense. It's all falling into place.
It's a prophecy from the Bible. The Bible said this was going to happen, and we're all acting so shocked and surprised.
I know. The dollar is going to have to be devalued so that they go to a digital currency and then one world currency. We don't have any leaders in the world right now that are really strong leaders.
Yeah.
So all of these governments are going to start falling apart. The United States is a perfect example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I find it hilarious how they kept saying Biden wasn't responsible for the rising gas prices, even though he was. But then when gas prices went down 20 cents, they're responsible and taking credit for it. It's like, so just them talking out of both sides of their mouth like that, that there's deception going on. You can see with just the way people are acting.
people in general, acting to each other.
I mean, it's just absolutely absurd.
Mhm.
It's absolutely absurd what is happening, the way people are treating each other, the way they think nothing of human life at all. Human life means basically nothing anymore.
Yeah, and I trained to do family counseling, and the way not most, but a lot of people, thank goodness there's still some normal people, I mean, we got proof of that with our viewers, but there's a lot of people, a lot more people that when I studied this, the behavior they're doing now that they're calling normal, we considered it abnormal, and actually mental and emotional, people with mental and emotional problems, and so it's getting bad because it's getting out of balance now. There's getting to be so many people that are having those things happen. And so it is just the character of people. And it used to be even people that didn't believe in God, little things like this, that didn't believe in God, they would not, they had a respect, what I mean, a respect for the Bible, a respect for Christians, and that type of thing. If they knew you were a Christian, they wouldn't swear and cuss in front of you. Now they don't care. They just even go the other extreme. And I'm not just saying with like Christians, but there was a moral fiber in the world that's missing now. It's just totally going by the wayside. And when that happens, if you think about it, when that's gone, everything will break loose. Everything will break loose.
And it is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's literally just falling
people
apart.
When they start thinking like that, they can't think rationally. They get confused. They're contradictory. It's like they speak out of, the Bible calls it speaking out of both sides of their mouth, I think, that type of thing. In other words, they don't know what they're talking about. They say one thing today and they say the opposite tomorrow. All of that is the normal behavior of people that are mentally going off the track.
Well, and just look at the whole green thing. First of all, there's not even a problem with climate. It's called summer and winter, first of all. Secondly,
it's summer.
called weather patterns. Secondly, just look at them trying to push the green electrical cars on us. We can't even keep the electricity on running air conditioners and heaters right now.
I've had my power out 2 nights in a row with them working.
Your power wasn't out. They were actually working on a substation.
That's what I said, working on.
Yeah. But they can't, electric cars, somebody said use, I think it was 5 times the amount. I can't remember. Or was it 25? It was a ridiculous amount. Yeah,
it's a huge amount.
More than a refrigerator even.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to add even 50% of the United States gets electric cars. The grid can't even handle it now. How in the world in 7 years, they're not going to get that fixed? It does, where you see it biblically, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. They're not thinking rationally or logical.
I mean, it doesn't even come close to making sense. And yet this is what they're calling normal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're supposed to get used to this, and we're supposed to accept this. Well, they're conditioning you to accept this. Why? Because all of these governments are going to start falling because of stuff like this. And then that gives room in the tribulation for the Antichrist to come in and save the world from everything that's happening. And so when things don't make sense,
chaos and confusion,
you know that is from Satan.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he is the one that is ruling those people. It is demonic forces that are over those people. And it's a spiritual battle. So as Christians, if you are a Christian, if you have given your life to Christ, repented of your sins, and he is your Lord and Savior, and your life is his now, and you cannot do one thing to get into heaven, and you know that he just gave you a free gift of dying on the cross, and there's nothing else you can do to get into heaven. As a Christian, you know that you are going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So stop getting upset. Stop worrying about it. And if you're not a Christian, give your life to Christ. That's going to be the answer. You're not going to want to be here during the tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
If we think that the lawlessness and all of that stuff is bad now,
Oh, you guys have no idea.
you can't even imagine.
No.
I mean, it is going to be so unbelievably bad.
Just the fact that all goodness and right things will be taken out of this world.
Yeah.
And there'll be nothing but horror left. I mean, it would be like, I mean, you can't even describe it, how bad it's going to be. There will be no goodness, nothing right or good.
And so you have to just keep calm. Don't worry about it. I don't worry about our food. Everybody keeps saying, well, you showed your stockpile on YouTube. Okay. Well, I know that if somebody comes and takes my stockpile, first of all, I'm going to tell them about Jesus as they're doing it. And secondly, I know that he's going to take care of me if it's not there.
Why do we think God is not going to protect us through this type of stuff like he has in the past? He always will.
Yeah.
You know.
My stockpile is not my salvation.
Mm-mm.
It's not even on the radar because I know that God will take care of me. So anyway, keep calm. If you're getting overwhelmed with stockpiling, put your questions in there, guys. I'm going to start doing questions. So put your questions in there, but keep calm. If you're getting overwhelmed with stockpiling, take a break. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know the UN was saying that by July 31st, there was going to be no food left. I ain't seeing it at the moment. I'm going to do a video on August 1st and let you know if we have food on the shelves or not. Because, yes, things are coming, but you still have time to prepare. And you still do not need to panic. So take a deep breath, calm down.
You've got to calm down and not be anxious, not give up hope. This is just your life for the moment. Because if you give into that panic, the anxiousness, the fear, the worry, I know this illness that we've had the past couple of years. I can think off just the top of my head right away 5 people that I know who has taken and let the fear of this so overwhelm them. I mean, they actually need counseling. They have really literally lost their mind because of fear. And the thing is, nothing's really happened to them. They haven't gotten, now I'm not saying there aren't people that have gotten sick, that have died. But every year people get sick and die with colds and flus, but it's the fear and the panic that has made things worse. And these people, they can't function. They literally cannot function now. I know one person is having to have other people actually get food for her and to totally take care of her. And just because of fear. And it's in her mind. It's in her mind. And so you've got to get rid of that fear. You won't be able to take care of your family or yourself if you have that fear. You can function and do twice as much if you get rid of the anxiousness and the fear.
Yep. We've had a lot of that this week, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, we have. We've had
You guys knew what was going on.
Oh, my
around the scenes here?
goodness. When it rains, it pours.
You'd be wondering how we're even sitting here doing a show. And I'm not exaggerating, guys.
Yeah,
it's been bad.
It's been interesting.
Okay.
And saying that, pray for each other. Pray for us. We pray for you. Pray for each other. Above all else, if you don't get anything else from this show, you have got to really don't just say, I remember going to church and everybody saying, well, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. And they go home and they never do it. We've got some wonderful prayer warriors on here that are so great. And without you guys jumping on with people making comments, how they've been sick, how they've needed help with this, and you jump on and pray for them, I don't know what we'd do because we can't handle it all by ourselves. And so God's blessed us with some really strong prayer warriors. Keep praying for each other. That is the most important thing of anything, is to be praying.
Yes. And thank you for praying for us, you guys.
Yeah.
Because your prayers actually.
I don't think you realize how much your prayers are keeping us going.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that, I'm not sure we would be able to.
All right. The questions. Tara, your hair looks great. Thank you. I got a perm when I was in Colorado. I wasn't sure if I should, but I'm glad I did, and I love it. All right. Felix says, so glad to see you both. Hello from Germany. Hello.
Oh, hi.
I know you guys are having a time
Yeah.
over there, too.
Yeah.
I totally am. Jack, I have 2 of us, so how much should I stockpile? Well, just go back to where we said, just sit and figure out how much each serving is, and then you
add it
will
up
figure
for your
it out.
meats, for your fruits and vegetables. Figure out the servings.
Yes. Diane, what do you mean 25 to 50% on top of prices that we already have now? So the bread has gone from 83 cents to $1 in the last 2 months here in Wyoming. And for those of you who keep posting, there's no way you can get bread for $1 in Maine, in California, in Texas, in wherever. The only 2 places I didn't look was Alaska and Hawaii. Every Walmart in the country has bread, they're white, regular sandwich bread for $1. I have looked at Walmart after Walmart, and they all have white sandwich bread for $1. And you're not going to die eating white sandwich bread. No. I had 11 grandparents who lived on processed foods and white breads and were certainly happy about it because they were tired of farming. And they lived, all of them except for 2, lived to be over 90.
Yeah.
Mom's old, and she's lived on that stuff her whole life. I'm going to be 50 next week, and I've lived on that stuff. No diabetes. Mom went to the doctor the other day, and the doctor was like, well, you must have a really good diet.
Yeah, she said, you must eat so healthy and have the best diet, because she said, there is nothing in my blood work I don't have, and I'm so grateful
she
for that.
She eats margarine. My grandma's eating margarine. Margarine's not going to kill you.
Oh, you know what I was going to do? I was going to bring my trash bag. I keep a little trash can by my chair, speaking of food, and it's full of candy wrappers. I mean, it's full, and I started to bring it and show you and say, my name is Jill, and I'm a chocoholic, and I need lots of help because this poor trash bag is just overflowing with chocolate candy bar wrappers. So I don't eat, that healthy at all.
Yeah. I'm 50 years old, and I still have 1 grandparent left. That's pretty good.
Going back to the bread, be careful what you're comparing. You're not you're comparing apples and oranges, basically. When she says it's $1, white bread is $1. Don't compare it to the most expensive. What is it, Sara Lee bread, or wheat bread, or something like that, or expensive wheat bread you buy from the bakery. Don't compare those types of things. That's not even fair to compare that.
No. And if you're buying $4 worth of bread, you are not having a hard time yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not. Now, I understand. I get Canadians all the time. I understand Canadians have higher prices, but you also have to put in the exchange rate also. But you also have to take into effect, you guys have socialized medicine. You're going to pay to have free healthcare. Your free healthcare is not free, period. It's not. I have had Canadian friend after Canadian friend tell us they earn more money in the United States, like 25% more, by working in the United States and not having all those taxes taken out and paying their own insurance than that. I'm not saying whatever. I'm just saying that's what happens when you have socialized programs.
That's why I always hate to give prices.
Yeah.
Because you need to just look at the prices in your area. Is the white bread at your Walmart doubling, tripling in price, or is it just going up like 10, 20%? you know. So I hate giving prices because they're different all over our country, let alone all over the world.
Yep.
So you look at your prices reasonably, you know.
Homeschool Mama says, how to store flour in mason jars. Do I use oxygen absorber packets? I would not waste valuable mason jars on flour.
No.
I would just keep it in its regular packet. If you really want to store it longer term, you can put it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers in a 5-gallon bucket if you want. But, you know,
it's not going to extend the life of it for that much longer.
Maybe a year or two, but I don't know. It's flour is one thing.
Yeah, oils go rancid no matter how you store them. They're going to go rancid. They may not be. You might get a few months on them, but it's not enough to make it.
And so flour with the oil, that's the little oil that's in the flour, it goes rancid, and that's why.
Yeah,
you can, but I would focus more on getting things like canned goods and just making sure you always have a rotation of flour.
Yeah,
you know, make sure
if you're rotating that flour out. You know, I've got stuff now that goes to 2024, 2025. Now I'm rotating that out. And so it's going to keep extending the life on it. For some reason, if we think we have to store it for 25 years, no, you're not going to be storing that one thing of flour for 25 years.
Who wants to eat 25-year-old flour?
I know. And you're going to be rotating that out, you know. So by the time you get back to that one bag that you think you should store, you're going to have, it's going to still be okay. And you just need to do like that.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, actually starting soon, we're going to start doing more stockpiling, focusing on how to deal with bugs, how to store flour, how to, take care of those kinds of things in your stockpile. Those are actually videos that are coming up.
How to use that
food. To use that food. Mm-hmm. Those are videos that are coming up pretty soon in our next section of videos. What about wheat berries? Wait a minute. What about wheat kernels? How long do they last? They last a lot longer.
Yeah.
You don't.
If you're going to store something, that would be better for long.
But you have to have a grinder to grind the wheat berries. Mm-hmm. So they will last several years. I think 5 to 10 years. I don't remember for sure. Just Google it. Just Google it. I can't remember. But Jill, I use the food pyramid like you suggested. Would you consider 1 serving of rice with 1 serving of beans to be a sufficient protein serving for one day? Well, I mean, that would be not starving to death.
Yeah, that would keep you. Yeah, that's what that would be.
Which actually is another point. How many people eat 1 bowl of something in the world? And that's how many millions and millions of people, maybe even billions of people, eat 1 serving of rice or whatever. Yeah, and that's all they live on.
See, we when we lived in Japan, I've told you the story before, we had an orphanage of boys orphanage that my dad's squadron supported. And before we got there, all the boys got was 1 bowl of rice is what they got. And then on Sunday, they got 1 bowl of rice with a little tiny bit of fish. And so that's not a lot of food. But these boys, they were very thin, and probably not, they were doing okay. But you can survive off of a much smaller amount than you realize.
Yeah. Let's see. If you don't stockpile, you don't get stockpile burnout if you make it a part of your routine and it's not so stressful. Pass some I don't know what that name is, but yes, just get 5 extra things every time you go grocery
That's what I was saying. Now we're back. But that's what I was talking about earlier. I now go and I'm going to replace the tuna I ate this week, the couple of cans, and I might throw in 1 extra can. So I just keep replacing like that.
Alicia, on your super chat, she wanted to know, Money for Bibles, thank you, by the way. Would it be okay for those of us with small businesses to post the name in the business in the chat, a way to help each other out? Love you all. Probably not. We try to be very careful in the things we promote, and so we don't want
it could get kind of overwhelming. We don't want things in there that get out of balance, and we get too many
and inappropriate things being advertised, that kind of thing. So sorry about that. What if you already do those things? Well, then Elaine wants to know, if you're already, not eating, not keeping all the stuff out, well, then you're in that tiny, tiny group that has actually cut everything out. And in that situation, you're going to have to figure out a way to earn more money if that's what it amounts to. And I know people are like, well, even if you're on disability, there are ways that you can earn extra money. You can bake, you can do sewing, you can do ironing. There are lots of different things that you can do to earn money, even on disability. So you're going to have to find a way just to get more money. Sell things, whatever. Kimberly, to pre-order propane, it's going to cost us about $2,100, but that's heat for the winter. 2 years ago, we paid $1,100. Yeah, that's pretty expensive.
That's going to be one of the more expensive things.
Grandma 62, I'm organizing my stock in 3 different areas to use now for future use and hidden food in case someone breaks in. I live 50 minutes from the city of Chicago. Yeah, if I was in Chicago,
that's
and
the way to do it.
I keep a baseball bat handy too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Speaking of hiding food, find different places that people might not think to look, like in the bottom of your kids' toy box. If you have like maybe a footstool in the living room that is open, put food in there. Look around at different furniture pieces and different places throughout your house. You'll be surprised how many places you could hide a little bit of food.
Yeah, a lot of that. Okay, let's see. Next it is. The set looks cool. Thank you.
Thank
you.
For
those of you who haven't seen it yet, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Actually, so I know I said I was doing my house tour this week for our 1-year anniversary of moving here. I'm very sorry. I have some flowers about ready to bloom. So I decided to wait and not do it yet for those flowers to bloom because it's going to just look pretty impressive if we don't get hail and it gets all smashed in the rain. But those flowers are like right on the edge of blooming. So I'm waiting for them to bloom. And I think later next week, I'll be getting it out. Bonnie, I am a single mom, no car payment, no cable, etc. Good for you.
Way to go.
Alicia.
And that's really the most important thing. Get those debts paid off, guys. If you're having to pay for a mortgage and buy expensive groceries, think about this. Some of you have $2,000, $3,000 house payment. If you've got that extra $3,000 because your house is paid off, you'll have that to put on food and oil for heating, and that type of thing. So when we say get out of debt, that's just like top priority, really. You need to do that.
Yeah. Tara, I saved money last week by buying myself insoles instead of new shoes.
Very
job.
good.
I saved $40 by just doing that. Yeah, guys, in the Depression, they had holes in the bottoms of their shoes. We are not, I know not one person, not one, who has holes in the bottoms of their shoes. Yet that was a regular thing in the Depression.
Oh, yeah.
They put cardboard in, or they put newspaper and stuff in the bottom of their shoes to keep their feet from freezing in the snow.
Even the farmers in that didn't buy their kids shoes, in the summer months. They would wait until winter set in, and then they would buy them shoes because the kids' feet would grow throughout the summer. So,
Mary Lee went to Albertsons this morning in Wyoming, and I paid $30 for my groceries. I saved $45, which is 59% savings.
Good, yeah.
Mary Beth. I don't know why Dave would be spinning in his chair, but okay. She says Dave Ramsey would be spinning his chair. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. Rachel, I live in the Bahamas. Grocery prices are horrid and gas prices are $6.96, $6.98. Y'all in America are living a fairy tale. Stop whining and enjoying the good life. She's right. Yep, you are right. Freedom Rain, low-income family of 7. We make it comfortably. We don't splurge or spend money on unnecessary things. It's not hard. Yep.
You know what, you guys, you won't miss it as much as you think. You really won't. There's a piece about being out of debt and having your money under control that you don't have to do this other stuff to satisfy you. A lot of times people go shopping, they go out to eat, they do things like that because they're feeling insecure. They go on vacations so they can relax. You get rid of the stress of debt in your life, and you'd be surprised how you won't miss this stuff as much.
Yep. Kimberly, I use $10 every time I go to the store of my food budget towards my stockpile. That
Very
helps
good.
out immensely. I also
Perfect.
follow the spreadsheet that Tara has for $5 a week. Yeah, our stockpile Mike.
Is he over there
He's
still? We
gone.
can't see him.
We had him and we lost him. Can you put the stockpile ebook in there for them, please?
Yes.
For free, you guys can get our stockpile ebook, and Mike will put the link in there for you.
You guys can't see it, but we've got a black curtain up here, and Mike's behind the black curtain, and it feels weird.
Karen, do you have
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Don't pay
Don't pay
attention to
attention to
the
the man behind the curtain.
Karen, do you have crackers that are gluten-free? Yeah, I eat the glutino ones, although now I'm having a hard time finding them, so I have to get them off Amazon. So I don't get them that often, but I don't, honestly, guys, I've been gluten-free for 10 years now. I don't buy anything special. I will buy gluten-free bread, but the gluten-free bread in my gluten-free book is actually way better than the store stuff. It's just that right now my oven is awful. And so I'm buying bread instead of making it. I should just make it. But I don't do anything special really for eating gluten-free. And now I'm diabetic on the diabetic diet, basically. I don't do anything
Could you
special
use our
for
soda
it.
cracker recipe and just substitute?
No, but I do have cracker recipes in here. I mean, if you have the gluten-free book, I do have cracker
Oh, you
recipes
do have
in there.
crackers.
But
Okay.
you can't just substitute. But yeah.
You set the books down, it's making-
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, let's see. Kelly, I'm currently having to eat through my stockpile at the worst possible time. I'm having to move into my RV for a while. I won't have much space.
Oh.
Ooh.
That is hard. Yeah.
Yep. Lisa made the no-bake fudge cookies in volume 1. So yummy. I made them too. And guess what?
You're not going to believe it.
Somebody changed. I keep my measuring cups in my sugar and flour, and somebody changed it from a quarter or from a half to a quarter. I only put half the amount of sugar in. It didn't turn out quite so good. The boys don't know it yet. They're probably finding out now. Some people are addicted to fear, Tay says, and won't move to do anything other than write negative comments. I get that. I get that. But the trolls, that's not what bothers me. What bothers me is normal people who have watched us for a while, and they're still giving in to this. I just have to be afraid. And, there are many YouTubers that are just preying on the fear, and they're giving you advice that's just stupid. It's just stupid. One lady emailed me and she said, Tara, some YouTubers are saying you should put your money in a credit union instead of a bank. Why should I do that? What do I need to do? Should I put it under my mattress? What should I do? Went and did a whole bunch of research, just making sure I was right, because of course I'm right. But I called a couple of credit unions. Mike did a whole bunch of research. There is nowhere you can put your money where it's going to be safe, period. You can put it in your house if you want. You can put it in the bank. You can put it in a credit union. But if the fecal matter hits the oscillation unit and our economy totally collapse, no money is worth anything anywhere. And gold and silver isn't really going to be worth anything either. They're not going to want to figure out how to buy a loaf of bread with gold coins or silver coins. It's not going to happen. So stop listening to advice like that. We had another piece of advice or another piece of fear mongering that's going around by reputable people that I'm trying to decide if I need to do a video on, because I really like these people, but what they're telling people is not true. Research these things yourself.
Yeah, you can check them out.
You can check it out just as well as I can. I don't do anything special. I don't know anything special. I call the credit union and they tell me your money's going to be gone if it collapses. The only difference is we have better interest rates for loans. Well, you better not be getting any interest rates. You better not be getting any loans anyway. They have better fees. Okay. If you want to save money on fees, transfer it over there. That's totally fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But just to move your money to the credit union because you're afraid, no.
Yeah, and that's the same way with 401ks. A lot of people think I've got it in a 401k. It's perfectly safe. Nothing will ever happen. But if that company goes out of business, what they don't realize, you will lose all that money. Things like that. The Depression is a perfect example of this. And I know the banks have what the special insurance now since the Depression
That's
and
not going to do
everything.
any good.
It's not going to do you any good, because if they don't have the money in the bank and it's not worth anything, what are they going to give you? There's not, it's not going to be there. So it doesn't help to have, there's no security in any of it. That's why I personally say to have your debt paid off, get everything taken care of that you can. Go to the dentist, get any dentist work you have to do, medical stuff done. Get your home repaired. If you need new gutters, if you need something done with home repair, make sure your home is in great shape. Buy anything you need for household items that you're going to need, tools and any type of furnishings, or get your money kind of in stuff more that you're going to have. And it's more secure in that, to me. But you can have a little bit in the bank. I keep a small amount in the bank to pay my bills and that type of thing. You can keep some cash, if you want to do a little bit of gold and silver. I would do a small amount of all of these things just to have your bases covered. But make sure you have the big stuff done, like the house repairs and have a car that's good in running
Have
shape.
the next size up for kids for clothes.
Yes.
Now, I've always done that.
I know.
Even before crazy times. I always kept a bucket when I found 10 cents. When I found clothes for 10 cents,
Yeah.
or somebody gave me free clothes or shoes or whatever, I just kept a bucket, threw it in there for my kids. And then when they were in that size, when it's time to go to the next size, I just look in the bucket to see what we have. And I did that.
Because if you have those things, you're not going to have to worry about not having the money, because you're going to have enough stuff to tide you over.
Yeah. Philip, yes, this is being recorded. So tell your wife we said hi. Don't forget to buy seeds. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that goes along with, the tools, gardening tools, seeds, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Joseph stockpiled 7 years of grain. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We used him as God warned him. Guys, God is passing his judgment on some of these things. I really think he is. You can't go around doing the stuff that we've been doing and not expect judgment from God. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're a Christian, he's not going to take care of you. He will. He'll take care of you. But you have to keep in mind that those things will probably just keep getting worse and just keep getting worse. No one has any sense of remorse or anything. Mm-mm. Now we're not turning from the awful things we're doing. Mm-mm. So it is probably just going to keep getting worse and worse. Okay. Be bold and courageous says, I love Jill's scarves.
Oh, thank you.
Jill always fashions a nice, classy knit scarf. We want to know more about how she picks them out and where she gets them.
I get them at the thrift store usually. If I just see something cute, I just pick it up at the gift store or thrift store is where I do. But
if she didn't have the money, she wouldn't be buying it.
And I usually pay. I don't like paying more than like 45 cents at a garage sale or thrift store for my scarves. Yep. That's what I always do.
Tay says, the Lord is faithful. I feel like the whole year has been miraculously providing and showing me love and faithfulness. Mm-hmm. Yes, totally agree. Be bold and courageous. So you guys agree with the saying, God doesn't help a man that doesn't help himself? No. And yes. So here's the thing. God helps those who helps themselves is not in the Bible. That's why God is there. He helps those who cannot help themselves. That's why Jesus died on the cross for us, because there is no way we can ever be good enough to get into heaven on our own
Can't work
merit.
Hard enough to do it.
You cannot do any works that will get you into heaven. It is your faith and your faith alone that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, that you are a sinner. He died on the cross. He rose again. And if you repent of your sins and give your life to him, you will go to heaven. That's it. So no, the Bible doesn't say God helps those who help themselves, but there are many examples in the Bible where God told people things were happening and he expected them to do some work.
Mhm.
He's not, why should he help you if there's things you could be doing
And there's
in the first place?
he tells people to provide, that if a man doesn't provide for his family, he's worse than an infidel, so God expects to be, the man to provide for the family.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, in Proverbs, it talks about go to the ant you slaughtered, because he wants us to be hard workers like the ant in that sense of providing for ourselves, and he will cover anything we can't do.
But he's there for us for
Mhm.
when we can't do things ourselves, and he doesn't expect us to do it all.
Yeah.
Let's see. Psalm 146 says, Amir Safante says, God gave us the Bible to prepare us, not to scare us. Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, exactly.
exactly.
We know exactly what's going to happen.
As a matter of fact,
He's
it's kind of
showing us.
exciting. If
Mhm.
you really believe in Jesus, that he's coming back, it's exciting watching this.
Yeah. Lori says, how many times do scriptures say, do not fear? There's only one to have fear of, and that's our Father in heaven. Yes, it's good to
Mhm.
have a holy fear of God
Mhm.
and his wrath.
Yeah.
But if you've given your life to Christ, he remembers your sins no more.
Yep.
So you have nothing to worry about. I'm not worried about food, Patty says. I'm worried about keeping warm this winter. Well, yes.
Yeah.
We were trying to get our wood stoves installed and it just ain't happening.
It's not working.
But we have our wood stoves so that if we need to put them in ourselves, we can do it. For us, if we need to move out here to the studio, we can put our wood stove out here in the shop and we can live out here if we need to, so yeah.
We at least have the stove, that we can.
Yeah.
Then we have wood too.
Yeah. S&K, off-topic Bible version question. I just recently have been told the most popular modern English Bible are missing verses. Do you know of any that have all the verses in the modern English? So I would do the New King James Version.
Mhm.
The New Living Translation is pretty good. New International Version is pretty good. That's probably the one they're talking about, but they're not, the things they're talking about aren't really missing verses, so to speak. So, and then I would do English Standard Version and American Standard Version, I think it's called also. Those are all really good versions of the Bible. And we do give away a New Living Translation for anyone who cannot afford a Bible. If you can't afford one, Mike will put it in there for you. You can go there and we give away free Bibles. We won't contact you. We aren't Jehovah's Witness. We're not Mormon. We are just evangelical Christians that provide Bibles for whoever cannot afford one. You can ask for it and we will give it to you. Miss T, we do not need to be controlled by fear. There are 365 verses in the Bible that talk about fear, one for each day, one time with the Lord, one day at a time with the Lord. Yeah. Yeah. So Mike, can you send me the next questions? So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll be perfectly honest.
If you were lying before.
I don't know why I say that, because I'm not lying to you in the first place.
I know.
But I'm doing things like painting the outside of my house, putting in my garden, fixing up things in my house, working on videos, and more days than not, I'm like, why am I doing all this? We're probably not going to even be here. Christians are probably going to be taken out in the rapture soon. If it doesn't happen this year, I would be totally surprised. May not, nobody knows when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But things are just getting so absolutely crazy. I can't believe it's not going to be, well, and I said when that thing going around came out, I said, if the rapture doesn't happen in 5 years, and that was in 2020, I was like, I would be really surprised. But, I'll be honest, there are days when I'm like, why am I even doing this? Well, to pass the time.
And we're supposed to just keep doing, up until the end. You're supposed to just occupy until Jesus comes.
Yeah. So, Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Do you have Bibles for children? We do not. Just the regular NLT Bible. Let's see. Whose kitchen are we in? My new studio kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we got tired of setting up and tearing down in our house. So we moved out to the garage and we built a studio. Imagination Travel says, even for a budget, it's still possible to stock up. Yes, it is. Very easy right now. It's still very, very easy. Let's see. Okay. Did you send me more questions?
Well, I sent you 3.
Now they just came in. Okay, they just came in. How do you tell if sugar, oil, or flour is bad? Sugar doesn't go bad, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I have sugar that's 5 years expired that I'm still using. It's a little bit harder and I got to break it up because it got a little bit of humidity somewhere along the line, but sugar doesn't go bad. Salt doesn't go bad. Now, oil and flour, about a year to 18 months.
If you keep it in the freezer, it goes just slightly longer.
If you have room in your freezer.
And you don't need to be afraid of it because it can't poison you or make you sick. Just taste it. It just tastes rancid. It's off. You can taste the flavors off. So you can just taste it and see, is this good or bad?
Do we still have deer? Denise wants to know. Yes, they visit us every day.
Did you tell them what happened?
The flowers.
Did you tell them what we were doing yesterday with the?
Oh, have mercy.
Oh,
we thought a deer was giving birth in the front yard. So I set up the camera because I'm like, oh, if this is happening. And she was panting really hard and her butt looked really weird. We could almost swear she was. This looks like this deer's giving birth. Well, come to find out, she's the one that just had twins. So we have 2 baby deer running around here that are super cute. And they weren't with her, so I wasn't sure if it was the same one. But she just had twins, and I think she must have had some sort of problem that messed up her hind side. And so it looked like she was giving birth. We were like,
oh, we're sitting and watching this deer. What do we do? How do we help her?
I know. Joni says she made the enchilada sauce from Dining on a Dime. There you go. That's really good, actually. S&K said I had to take a break from all of the fear spreading. Yeah. Okay, I'm watching some of the videos. But not because I'm watching them because I'm afraid of what's going on. It's because I have no idea what to do for shows now. So last night at midnight, I was sitting there watching all these prepping videos, and I was just like, people, stop telling these people lies. It's not true. My problem is there's enough other stuff going on that you do need to
be concerned about.
Watching and concerned about, maybe not afraid, but I mean, you need to keep your eye on it.
Yeah. Know
that
what to do.
All this other stuff, like food plants burning down when they're not. Don't believe, go research yourself. I actually am thinking about doing a video on this, but I actually researched the whole food plant thing burning down. I'm sorry. I know I wasn't going to say anything, but I got to say it. I went through a list of 25 food plants burning down. 25. I know there's 100 or however many is today. I went through, and let me tell you what I found. Would you like to know what I found? I don't care if you want to know. I'm telling you anyway. Here's what I found. Out of 26, there was, oops, I got the wrong thing. Just one moment here. Okay, out of those 26, are you ready for this? The real statistics. Here's the truth. Out of 26, I could only find 8 that actually burned down and they weren't usable. 3 of those articles, and I could find nothing anywhere that didn't say if they had burned down, if they were usable. So I added those to the burned down list just to give the benefit of the doubt. That's 11 out of 26 that have burned down. Then out of that, there were 2 that weren't even food plants. One was a train and one was a distribution center. That's not a food manufacturing plant. And then all the rest of those, which is 13 or so left, they were either back in service the next day or within a week. One of them was a week. Everything else was back in service right away. Or the plane landing in the food plant in Georgia, it was in a parking lot next to the food plant. That's not the food plant burning down. Stop listening to people just blabbing on and go research yourself. I spent 2 hours yesterday, 2 hours of my life wasted to show you've got to go and actually look for yourself on these things and see if it's true or not. It is so incredibly frustrating because there's so much that is actually going on that you do need to be watching.
The way
energy.
They word stuff now and everything, even a person that really thinks hard about this, it sounds good to them. But until you go, and I did a research on, I think I mentioned this before, about how Diet Coke causes stroke and heart attack.
And Alzheimer's.
And all this other stuff. So I thought, I'm going to actually research this. And I did. Well, the first page of Google, I read all of them and they all sounded the same. They're doing studies that show that, that a diet pop does this to people. But I kept going. I didn't stop on the first 12. Then I went to the next page. I had 12 more. Still the same stuff. But then I started looking and thinking, okay, it's like they're all quoting each other over and over again.
That's all they're doing.
Quoting the same thing. And I thought, okay, something's wrong with this. So I kept diving and digging down. And I spent like Tara hours doing this. I finally got to the end. Come to find out, I mean, first of all, the people they were doing, women that were way overweight, that had chronic illnesses, that the chances of them having a heart attack anyway was going to happen. And so I kept reading still, even at that. And finally, I got all the way very end, and they finally said, well, first of all, the study wasn't even a proper study. It wasn't a controlled study. I mean, it was so far off the chart of not being controlled. It was ridiculous. The gals just called in each day and said, well, no, I didn't drink too many diet pops today. So people lie about that stuff all the time unless they're right in and you're controlling their food. But I kept going, and finally I got the actual study itself. And guess what? They said, after doing this research, we have nothing to show that caused anything. This is what the study came out with. But yet all the news media, magazines, everything.
Like that thing going around the last 2 years.
So you got to be really, if you're questioning something.
Yep.
I just looked at myself. I look horrible tonight, don't I?
I'm sorry.
I look like warmed over
Mike,
death
can you turn
tonight.
off the lights, please?
Yeah, turn off the lights so I don't look so bad tonight.
But I mean, that thing going around, Bill Gates came out a few weeks ago and said, we looked at the data and it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. It was actually just the elderly that really had issues and people with other issues. And, it was just really a bad flu, basically. We completely ruined our economies and the lives of some people for a bad case of the flu. I'm not saying that the people who died or whatever.
No.
I'm not saying that, but they would have died with the flu.
Yeah, or bad cold that turned into pneumonia.
I said this in April of 2020. I am a housewife. I'm just a housewife. I'm no scientist. And all I did was every day went and looked at the thing going around, statistics. And I'm like, this is not that big of a deal. Why is everyone going berserk? Well, now last year, all the insurance companies have come out. They had a 20, depending on the insurance company, a 20 to 40% increase in overall deaths. What happened in 2020 and 2021 that we did that was different for the whole country? That's why we see what happens? So that's why you've got to actually look. This is not something scientists alone.
Well, even just use your own common knowledge. I was thinking through, now they've got all these variant things and stuff. It's a new one. I'm thinking this sounds just like a regular cold. They've never found anything that's shot or anything you can take for a regular cold. Why? Because it's just a virus and the flus that you just get over and over, and they change and do that. So to me, I thought this is just like a regular cold, because people would die from a regular cold. They get pneumonia in their lungs and stuff like that. So, you just got to think, just use your own common sense.
Yeah.
What else do we have before we get in bigger trouble?
Okay. So Allie said, okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Sarah says, you said don't get a loan. What about a home mortgage? Is this not the time to buy a new house, or very expensive now? I'm in an apartment, but was looking to buy a house in a few years, still saving for a down payment. I would still save for your down payment and go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But
get the most inexpensive house that you can, that you can get by with, and try to get that mortgage then paid off as soon as possible.
Okay, so I have a few arguments about the rapture, because that always causes arguments. So here's what it is.
And you know what? If you guys are Christians, stop arguing.
Don't argue.
I'm sorry.
Give the facts and leave it alone.
Yeah, there's no arguing.
Here's the thing. Allie asked, she's read the Bible and she can't find the word rapture in the Bible. It's not in the Bible. The verse they're referring to, the word rapture, is not in the Bible. It is 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 18. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel and the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and left will be caught up, remember that, together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage each other with these words. Caught up, where they're getting the word rapture, is caught up when it's translated. It was like harpazo or something.
Harpazo.
And then that's where they translate it to get the word rapture. So it's actually the word caught up that they are referring
the Greek
to
word
as the rapture.
that it was originally written in is harpazo, and that translates into being caught up or raptured.
Yes.
Either one.
So that's where we believe that we are not, well, we don't believe, we know. And let's see. Just a second. Let me find the verse so I can make sure. Here we go. 1 Thessalonians 5:9 through 10. For God has not destined us for wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us, that whether we are awake or asleep, meaning dead, we might live with him. The tribulation is God's wrath pouring out on the earth.
And it calls it that. Several different places in the Bible, it talks about God's wrath, the tribulation.
So that's why we know as Christians, we are not going to be here for the tribulation. I know it sounds woo, but Bible is the only book that has had every prophecy so far come true. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of prophecies have come true.
And one of the most interesting ones that just happened, the past week or so, the Bible says that it's Turkey, Russia, Iran, and there's a couple other countries that are all going to come together and attack Israel. Guess what? Russia, Turkey, and Iran, I think, just had a conference thing or something just recently. Things like this are starting to line up. All these prophecies that the Bible said would happen are starting to show up now. So that's why we say, and about it being the tribulation, the church going through the tribulation, the best way I ever heard it explained is the bridegroom is coming back to get the bride. The church is the bride of Christ. And I don't care what anybody says, there's no bridegroom that wants his bride to be beaten up before the wedding supper, which is what's going to happen during the tribulation. People are going to be killed. Horrible things are going to be happening. We can't even describe them. And you think any bridegroom would allow his bride to go through something like that if he had the power to protect her? And so to me, that's the best way to describe it. Now, we're not here to argue whether you're pre-trib, post-trib, middle trip, upside down trip, whatever you are. The main thing is you've got to believe that Jesus died for you and that you're a sinner and you repent of your sins, and ask him to come in your heart. That is the main thing. All the other stuff is not that as important as that. That is the main thing. If you do that, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff.
Yep. And the Bible verse that we use to have confidence that because we have given our life to Christ, we know that he died for our sins and rose again, and we are going to heaven through no work of our own. There is not one thing you can do except giving your life to Christ that will get you into heaven. Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that you may boast.
Now, do you hear what that just said?
Yeah, you
By
can't.
grace, you're saved. Grace is getting something that you don't deserve, really. And so if you're working to do this, you're doing just the opposite. You're not accepting the grace. And it says, why not of works? Because how many of you are so proud that you're a good person? How many of you are so proud that you go to church every Sunday, that you help the poor, that you do all these good things? Yep. You're proud of yourself. Mm-hmm. You probably are very proud of yourself. And that's why we can't do it by works. And stop thinking because you're a good person. It says right there. I mean, you don't get it because you're a good person.
Yep. You can't get it by being baptized as a baby. You can't get it by taking communion. You can't get it by confessing to a priest. You can't get it by saying so many rosaries. You cannot get it by your husband praying for you to get into heaven if you die. You cannot get it by being good to the poor, by helping the elderly. You can't get into heaven.
Eating and drinking certain things,
Yeah.
Doing certain actions.
Yeah.
That's all works that you're trying to do, and you're boasting in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And Allie, I did not think you were arguing. Don't think I said that. We're just saying that because every time we say this in the comments, we get person after the show, we get person after person who wants to just
We didn't
argue.
mean you necessarily.
Yeah,
we want everybody. We want
Just
everybody
so
to ask us the questions. But there's a lot of Christians that'll pop on and start arguing about that. And so ask all your questions. We're not hollering at you about asking the questions. We just.
Yeah. So, and then if you want another verse, Romans 11:6, but if it is by grace, it is no longer on the basis of works. Otherwise, grace is no longer grace. It wouldn't be a free gift.
Yeah.
If you had to work for your birthday gift, it's not a free gift.
Yeah. Tara's birthday's next week. If I buy her a gift and give it to her, and she goes out and spends the next day working really hard to pay me back, how ridiculous is that? And the Bible says over and over again that salvation is a gift. Why that's so hard to understand, I don't know, because it just says it's a gift over and over, and we're saved by grace.
Yep. Okay. And we could give you tons and tons of verses. I was trying to see if there's something else that just jumped out at me real quick.
You could look them up yourself. Why don't you go in and type in grace or
saved by grace and not works?
Yeah.
And you'll get tons of Bible verses.
You will. You need to study this. You can't don't just pick out one verse out of the Bible and say, okay, this is what the Bible says. You have to study everything in the context, the whole Bible, the whole meaning, the social events of that time, and stuff like that to totally understand. But first of all, pray that God will show you. If you ask him to show you, sincerely ask him to show you, he will show you.
Yep. Okay, let's see if I have any other questions here. It looks like, let's see. Let's see. Okay, lots of comments, but I'm not seeing anything that says, please be ready for Christ. Yeah, I mean, Guys, one of these days, there's going to be millions of people just disappear, and they're going to have an explanation for it. It's going to be aliens or something, and they're going to have an explanation for it. And you're going to remember Tara and Jill saying, someday, millions of people are going to just disappear. That's because those were the true Christians, and they have gone up to be in heaven with Jesus.
But don't think, well, I'll just wait till then to do it, because it says God's going to harden people's hearts. And I think if you have the opportunity now to do it and you reject it and don't, I'm not sure that after the rapture that you're going to have an opportunity. And even if you do, it's going to be horrendous. You won't live long, because they're going to kill the Christians. It says they're going to kill the Christians, you know, and awful, awful things are going to be happening. What do you have to lose? This is what I was raised in Boulder, Colorado, and it was probably 80% atheist where in my school and where I lived. And the one thing I would always ask them is this, you know, if I believe like what you believe, that there is no God, I don't need to do this, and we die, and you just believe we're going to turn back to dust, you know, if I believe the way I do and not the way you do, and we die, I'm not out anything. I've just lived a life of hope and joy and peace, you know, and security. Now, I'm not out anything. But if I'm right and you're wrong and we die, you're going to live eternity in hell. You're going to go through the tribulation, all this awful stuff. What do you have to lose? You know, if I'm wrong, you don't have anything to lose. But if I'm right, you have a lot to lose. So you might think about that. Why? What if somebody's offering you something wonderful? Why would you reject it? I mean, what do you have to lose? I mean, in taking it, this wonderful gift.
I'm looking up a Bible verse and I can't find it here. Somebody said, what do we think about eating clean and unclean foods? So in the New Testament, and I can't find the verse. I'm not good at memorizing stuff, guys.
It's with Peter.
It's Peter that talks about it, and I can't find it, but
has a dream.
Peter has a dream where a sheep falls down, I think, or something, and all the animals come down, and basically God is revealing to him that it doesn't matter if it's in Acts 10. Thank you. Mike looked it up. Acts 10. So go read Acts 10. We believe that you can eat anything because of Acts 10.
God was showing Peter that it's okay to eat both.
Yeah, here. Let me just read it real quick for you, because somebody's going to say something if I don't. Well, now I'm trying to find. Well, let's see if this will do it. Oh, of course, I got. Let's see here.
Because Christ was the fulfillment of the law.
Okay, come on. Okay, just go read Acts 10. Because of Acts 10, that is why we believe that it's okay to eat anything. We do not follow denominations or religions that say that you're not allowed to eat anything. The Bible is very specific that everything is fine in moderation. So, yeah.
That's ironic too, because a lot of people follow the good and the bad. You can't eat clean or unclean things, but they don't eat things in moderation, you know. But the Bible is specific about gluttony and meat in moderation, but very few people really follow that.
Denise wants to know, are we going to start doing cooking shows? Probably not. I mean, I might try a few and see, but guys, nobody watches them. Nobody watches them.
They don't watch them.
I'm tired of wasting my time on stuff that people aren't going to watch, because
it takes a lot of work.
It's a lot of work
to get the groceries and to get the stuff gathered up and to do it. And then we don't have a lot of people watching.
Jane says, I've been unable to find metal container yet. I have some extra flour, sugar, rice, etc. Will it be secure in plastic? Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you put it in a garage where there might be mice or something like that. We've just found some not too long ago at a garage sale. If you check garage sales, they usually have or thrift stores, a lot of those popcorn metal containers.
Thank you, Ask Hermit. The Bible verse in Acts 10 is, "No, Lord," Peter declared, "I have never eaten anything that our Jewish laws have declared impure or unclean." But the voice spoke again and said, "Do not call something unclean if God has made it clean." So that's why. And somebody else said, are we saying that you're not supposed to help people? No, because we're Christians, we help people because we want to show the love of Jesus to them.
You just do it naturally.
Doing those things is not what gets us into heaven.
Yeah.
It is our faith in Jesus Christ, that he died on the cross and rose again for our sins. His blood was shed so that we could go to heaven if we give our lives to him. So we have to make the choice to give our lives.
Some of the saddest words in the Bible is when it says that when people get to heaven, Jesus will stand there and he'll say, "Depart from me, I never knew you."
Yeah.
And the people say, "Yeah, but I did this in your name. I did this type of work. I did this in your name and that in your name. I helped others. I did all this stuff in your name." And Jesus says, "No, depart from me. I never knew you." So,
yep. What kind of wood stove is a good one? You'll just have to research that.
Yeah.
We don't have one we can recommend. I got mine at a garage sale. She got hers new, but it doesn't.
I only had a choice of 2 because they're harder to get now.
Yeah. How do you get rid of mice in the garage? Well, start setting mice traps.
Yeah.
Put out mouse bait and start getting that out there. You're just going to have to start fighting it really hard. Jolene wants to know about our skincare routine. She's 52 in August. I retired June 30th. She's dying to know. So we actually did some videos on that. I realized it's hard to search on the phone, but the short of it is, for me, I use baby shampoo for my face wash. I use olive oil for my moisturizer, and that's pretty much it. And then I use Maybelline Mousse for my foundation. But the biggest thing that Mom and I do is we don't drink and we don't smoke.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably genetic.
Another thing too is almost any root. If you find something that seems to work good on your face, the secret is to do the routine. People will do it maybe half-heartedly and then they'll quit. We have been doing this for years. Tara, since she was in high school, and I started
it's the same routine I've had for 40 years. Yeah.
And you need to, in morning and night, do the routine. Use a moisturizer if that's what you need for your skin. I use the cheapest cleanser at Walmart that's exfoliating. It's oil of Olay, but it's the Walmart brand of oil of Olay cleanser. And that exfoliates, which really helps. And so just get something and start trying it on your skin. And it doesn't have to be expensive stuff. We don't always use really expensive creams or anything. But the secret is do it day and night. You've got to keep doing it. Most people just give up and quit. And the sooner you can start doing it, the earlier in your life, the better.
Jane, I think the clean thing has more to do with fresh food that doesn't have chemicals like processed stuff. I'm sorry. Chemicals are our friends. Processed food is our friends. My grandparents, my great-grandmother nearly starved because they didn't have processed foods when she was born in the early 1900s. Literally, they had eaten their last meal and thought they were going to starve to death. So I think clean eating, if you feel you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you, but I don't think it's something that keeps people alive. Like I said, I had 11 grandparents when I was born. One is still alive. All but 2 died in their 90s or 100. And they all ate processed food for 70 plus years of their life because they were tired of canning their own food and making their own bread.
And my mom went to the doctor just a week ago, and they say, your heart is unbelievable. Everything about you. And they've said this to her every time I've taken her to the doctor. If I didn't see your age on the chart, I would think you were about 20 years younger than what you really are. And processed foods was all I grew up on. And
Grandma loves her Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I know.
And hamburgers and pickles.
I know. And that's all we grew up on. And that's what we've always eaten. We've not ever changed our diet. Yeah. I think part of the secret too, we don't overindulge. My mom or I don't either one eat huge amounts. We eat what a serving size is. And I think that helps a little bit too,
And we have a smart aleck on here. How are the chemicals helping your fibro, Tara. That's what causes it. No, it's not. I have gone chemical free.
She has
I have done
she
it.
has done it.
And it has done absolutely nothing.
I don't think there's anything anybody's mentioned that you have not done.
I have tried it all. Now, I do eat gluten-free, I do eat dairy-free, and I've been off sugar. And if I stay off those 3 things, I feel a lot better, but I'm not cured. I feel better, but I'm not cured. So these lies that people are spreading around that you have to only eat organic food to cure your fibromyalgia, or you only have to eat meat or whatever, it's fine. If it helps you, that's fine. But it's not going to help
don't
everyone.
disillusion everybody.
I don't want people getting upset if they try those things and it doesn't go away.
Yeah. That does more damage. And the thing is, there was a woman that was selling honey stuff for years. And I mean, she swore up and down it got rid of her CFS, and that everybody, if they just eat this honey stuff. And I've heard things like that over the years, that they're selling this stuff or they're claiming this stuff. And part of what I found out is a lot of people have been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome or something like that. And so they try this stuff and all of a sudden they're cured. What it really is, they had something else besides CFS. There is no cure for CFS. It's just not. Now, you can control it a little bit and keep it under control slightly, but I personally haven't found that the food I eat makes any difference. And I went for 6 months on the most perfect diet a person. I mean, I had like nothing but berries, basically, and that type of stuff. And it made no difference, made absolutely no difference for my chronic fatigue syndrome. And I think, so sometimes people, when they say they get cured, they probably didn't have, they had something else and they didn't have it in the first place.
Okay, Phoenix is rising. Will the rapture occur before the seals are broken? Yes, it will. We are not destined to God's wrath. Go look it up in Thessalonians. Let's see. RA, I've had fibromyalgia for 40 years. The only thing that's helped me was adding magnesium supplements and high oxalates foods, cutting that out. Yeah. I mean, there are certain things you can do that will help.
Like Tara said, the stuff
but
she's
it doesn't
eating helps
mean
a
it's
little
going to
bit.
necessarily cure it.
No.
And yes, and massage helps me a lot. I found out I got the wrong YouTube channel. I forgot to tell you to make this. Last night I was doing my prepping research at 1:00 in the morning. I ran across this ASMR channel where in Japan, they're doing this head massage and these ASMR massage things where they just sit there and record a lady massaging their head and washing their hair and all this.
Sorry.
2 million subscribers in a year. Millions of views. I am in the wrong
you're
business.
Gonna have Michael massage you next week in order to get more views.
The one thing that actually helps me feel really good is massages.
And Mike,
I should have been doing a massage YouTube channel.
You should have had Mike doing it.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, massage does help. And yes, for all of you guys wondering, I use baby shampoo on my face. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with using it. I've used it for 30 years.
Actually, I heard a doctor say one time to use a baby shampoo, especially on your eyes, because it doesn't burn, it doesn't hurt, and it cleanses the oils that sometimes can bother people's eyes, and stuff like it just helps.
Yeah.
With that.
What about a keto diet? Is it a scam? Okay, so when our son was having issues and we took him to the Mayo Clinic and all this stuff trying to figure out what was wrong, he said that a keto diet, one of the top kidney doctors said it's very dangerous to be on it long term. Now, you take that for what you want. If it makes you feel better and you're fine and you have your tests and you go to the doctor and you're fine, that's fine, whatever you want to do. I personally don't think I'm going to do it. Well, I've done it before, but it didn't do anything for me. So
one thing I think that happens with a lot of diets that people go on and stuff like that is you are watching what you're eating very carefully, and you're getting a certain portion and you're just only eating just a certain amount. And a lot of people start feeling better because before they just inhaled whatever they wanted and they ate too much or drank too much stuff of different things, and they overloaded their bodies with all kinds of stuff. And so then they go on this diet where they're watching their portion control. We have had more people, when I said just do the basic food pyramid and watch your diet and, watch the nutrients. And when they did that, they couldn't believe the weight they lost. They couldn't believe how much better they felt just by doing that. It's watching what you eat is what makes these diets seem good, and the amount that you're eating. So you're going to naturally feel better no matter which one you're on. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Check out our cookbooks. Also go and get a free Bible if you don't have one. We will see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Bye-bye, guys.
Oops.